Okay, today we're going to do lesson 1.5, which is cosine law. This is the formula here for cosine law. I've just written it twice. One of them was color-coded, so you could relate it to the triangles below. Okay? Cosine law says that the side, see, remember anything lowercase is I'm referring to the side of a triangle. So the side c squared is equal to side a squared plus side b squared minus, and these are all multiplied by each other, 2 times a times b times the cos of angle c. That's supposed to be in uppercase C. Okay? So, what's important about cosine law, remember with sine law we had to have two opposites to actually solve a sine law. We needed a certain amount of information. In this one, we're actually either solving for side C or angle C. Now remember, I can call a triangle anything I want. So I've just quickly labeled here our angles and sides are always opposite. So the lowercase and uppercase letters are always opposite on a triangle. This is an obtuse triangle. The other one we drew was this was an acute. The other one we drew was obtuse. We're always going to just rename the triangle so that whatever we're looking for will be called either side C or angle C, depending on the question. Okay? One other way to recognize when to use this law, and we'll put it down right now, when you can use cosine law, you would use it when you're looking for, or you have a side, then an angle, and another side. They call it SAS. And, or if you had all the sides of a triangle and you were looking for an angle, so you have all three sides, that's when you would use your cosine law. So between sine law and cosine law, you can solve for any part of a triangle. You just have to know when to use which specific law. Okay, so here's an example from your textbook. Your textbook has given us this obtuse triangle, and it's asking us to determine the length of side n. Okay, so we're looking for this here, the length of side n. The only problem is when we did cosine law, we used what variables? Anyone remember the three variables in it? They're the first three letters of the alphabet.
A, W, X.
ABC.
A, W, X.
Okay, so we have A, B, C. So what that means is I'm actually going to rename this triangle. We're going to try to keep everything the same, but instead of calling it M, N, and P, we're going to call it ABC. Now, the A and the B aren't that important, but what sides must I call C in order to work our cosine law?
The longest side.
No.
Not the longest side. 2 seconds.
So, remember, our cosine law said C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times A times B times cos C. Big formula to remember. I said the one side that was very important to remember is we need to name side C properly. With cosine law, we're always solving for side C. So we're also missing the angle M and the angle P, but the question asked us to solve for side N. So when I rename this triangle, I'm going to make that my side C of the triangle. So, right away, this will be my angle C, and this will be my side C because we are solving for those. Remember, the cosine law, we're going to always solve for the either angle C or side C. We're going to name that the part of the triangle we're solving for. The other two, A and B, doesn't really matter where I put them, so I'm going to call this A and this B. And then I'm going to plug in the values they've given us. So side, that's not a B. Side B was 25 centimeters, angle C is 105 degrees, and side A was 13 centimeters. Okay? So with that information, I'm now going to plug them into our equation. So, our side C, do we know how long it is? No, we don't, so we're going to keep it as C squared. Side A, how long was side A? Side A was 13 centimeters, so we're going to plug that in for the A in the equation, so we get 13 squared plus, how long was side B? 25, so we're going to plug that value in for the B in the equation. So we get 25 squared minus, the number 2 stays the same. Again, they're looking for A. How long was side A?
13.
So exact same thing. I plug it in for that value there. Side B was 25. So we're going to plug it in for B. And finally, the uppercase C stands for our degrees, or the side angle we have, which is 105 degrees. So if you guys look at cosine law now, there's only one variable left. I've given values to every other variable that we started with. So my whole goal is just to isolate this one variable. So we're going to go through this question now. C squared is equal to 13 times 13, 169. 25 times 25, 625. Minus, 2 times 13 times 25 is 650. And then finally here, cosine of 105. I'm still going to be multiplying this. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I made a mistake there. It's 169. Yeah, I put it in your thing. So, cosine of 105 cos is negative 0.25. So we end up with a negative 0.25 as our cosine law. So, according to BEDMAS, the next thing I'm going to deal with is our negative 650 times negative 0.25. So, I take this 0.25 negative times negative 650. We get positive 162.5. So I have C squared is equal to 169 plus 625. And this is positive 162.5, so plus 162.5. Then just have to add all of these up together. So that 162.5 plus 625. Oh, sorry, I pushed divided there. Where's the plus? There it is. Plus 625 plus 169. 956.5. Yes. 900, what do we say? 56.5. 56.5. And finally, to isolate for side C, we need to square root both sides because C is squared. So I'm going to end up with C is equal to the square root of 956.5, which is going to be roughly 31.02. I'm right on, watch. Ready? Square root.
Oh, you're so wrong, sir.
I was wrong. Looks wrong. Okay, so that means our side C is approximately 31 centimeters long. Makes sense because the opposite side is up 2, so it should be the longest side of the triangle. Alright, second example from your textbook. They're asking us to solve for angle C, which works out really well for us because of the way I set up the formula for you guys. The only difference here is The other sides of the triangle are not A and B. They called them B and D. So I'm going to quickly rename this triangle. What's the only thing I really need to change? Side D. What will I call it instead? All right, so I'm just going to rename this triangle so it works with our formula. This is A and A. So we're looking for angle C. Our formula is C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2 times A times B times angle C. So let's get all the information down. Side A is 500 feet. So for both of the A's, I'm going to be replacing those with 500 feet. So 500 squared plus. Side B was 650 feet. So I'm going to replace both of the B's in the equation with 650. 650 squared minus 2. A was 500. We said that before. B was 650. Cos. And finally, the other measurement we have is side C, which is 750. Am I replacing this C or this C with 750? What side? Left or right of the equation? So, the C on the left refers to the length of a side. We're looking for the angle, so I don't replace that with any number, mainly because I don't know what number it is. So I'm going to keep that as a variable, and I'm going to replace the side C with 750. So we're going to start to solve some of this. 750 squared. Oh gosh. 56250 is equal to, one step at a time makes it easy to follow as a student. 250, 3 zeros.
Can you just put a punch all of them like that and subtract it?
No, because there's one thing you guys are going to make a mistake on.
Well, I don't know, sir. I didn't even get your answer. 1750 squared minus 500
42250.
minus 650 squared. I got your answer.
Minus. Okay, so gentlemen, again, this minus sign, remember, we have to complete all of the multiplication over here before we can add and subtract these numbers. So this is where it gets a little confusing. We're going to do 2 times 500 times 650, 650,000. So we're minusing 650,000. Cos C. This is where most people are going to make a mistake. I do not subtract 650,000 from these numbers here. Okay? I need to multiply 650,000 first according to BEDMAS. So I'm going to move this side over and this side over to the other side of the equation, these numbers. So we have 562500 minus 250,000 minus 422,500 is equal to, this is a negative number. So if this is negative, we keep the negative here, 650,000 cos C. I'm going to equate the left side of this equation. And we get negative 110,000. So I have negative 110,000 is equal to negative 650,000 cos C. Again, I'm not going to be bringing over the negative 650,000 as a positive or negative number. Because this is multiplied by, when I finally do move it to the other side, it becomes divided by. So I get negative 110,000 divided by negative 650,000 is equal to cos C. We're going to equate those two. divided by 650,000. 0.169.
Not close to sir. How's that?
And again, I don't just push cos, I got to bring cos to the other side of the equation. So when I do that, it becomes cos inverse to 1.69 is equal to angle C. So take that number, 80.2. So when I go all the way back to the top, this angle here is 80.2 degrees. There's a lot of steps to solving the angle using this law. Make sure you guys take a look at all of these steps here.